So, John, we're talking about the Lord caring for his sheep. And you've made the point about in the passage that the sheep are provided this care so that they can process, they can ruminate, they can get the nutrients they need, have life. Um, but you made the point as well, and we're thinking through together, I think right now, the ways that the Lord is redeemed through his care. So he's cared for you, but can you think of a place or a story or a time in which you were very aware that the Lord was redeeming something in your life or in your experience?
Yeah, this may be a little bit obscure, but when we first started Zoe, early on, first couple of years, I had an opportunity to go to Vienna, Austria, and visit my son Dave. He was at the university there, and he was in a Fulbright scholarship, and he had a nice dorm room, and there was an opportunity for me to go and visit him for a week in the dead of winter. I thought, what a good thing to do is to relieve from home, while he was there for a year.
Right.
And but at the same time, here at Zoe, we were undergoing just this really time of testing. First year, 2 years, we had gathered musicians and prophets and all kinds of people who were drawn into ministry. And we were having struggles. Were we going to be a music-oriented church? Were we going to be a prophetic church? What were we going to be? And maybe I felt it a little bit more because we could spend time developing any one of those things, and I wanted to go with the Word, and there was some discontent amongst some of the musicians, and this was before Lisa and Michaela.
Okay, wow. I'll have to talk to Lisa about that.
So. And they were really great people, and it wasn't something that was unusual. It was a normal growing process, And I had pretty much decided, that we were going to stick to being a pastor-driven church, and that I wasn't going to try to control everything. I wasn't going to let departments branch out. I wasn't going to let us be open to the spirits of the wind, and we were going to try to stay focused on the Word at least as much as we could. And the time came for me to leave, to go to Vienna. And things were not settled. And I can remember we met as a pastor. I drew everybody together. We met in a room. We had hours and hours and hours of trying to work through it with the principals. And it was one of those behind-the-scenes ministry things that pastors can tell you is commonplace. It's agonizing, and when you're the one that's got to represent the Lord, it's doubly agonizing. So I remember at a certain point it was like, the plane's going to be leaving, and I'm going on this trip, and nobody's budging, and here's the way it's going to be. And so I kind of spelled it out, and then I left. And went to the LA airport, got on a plane, went and landed in Frankfurt, Germany.
Of course.
And it never occurred to me that they speak German there. And my connecting flight to Vienna was some small little plane. I didn't even know how to ask for that plane. So I had this moment where, I have all these doubts of, should I even be on this trip? Now, I had been on 5 just incredible missionary trips to Mindanao, and I've talked about them, and you've heard about them, and they were blessed. I mean, everything about them was blessed, and I was cared for by brothers and sisters in Christ every moment of every day. And so here I am in this Frankfurt airport, and nobody knows, cares, or even could care about me. And there's people back home wishing I would just get on a plane and never come back. And so, I started having that conversation with the Lord of, Lord, am I out of line? Did I make a mistake? And I had my ticket in my hand. Somebody came up and looked at my ticket, and pointed, you know. So I got on the connecting flight, and I landed in Vienna, and I got a voice message when my phone kicked back in, because back then you didn't get anything in the air. Phone kicked back in as my son Dave saying he's deathly ill. He's been throwing up and worse, and he can't get out, but I should still come and knock on the door, and hopefully he'll be healed by then. And so, and the only thing he said to me is it's by the Reisenrad.
Okay.
And so I looked up Reisenrad, and it's like, and it's this big Ferris wheel in Vienna. So I'm in the Vienna airport, and Dave, I'm telling you, I'm just like, Lord, what is happening here? Are you telling me to get on a plane and go back? Nothing. I heard nothing. I'm trying to ask people. I'm looking on the map on the wall. I'm in this underground train transit system with no idea which side of the city I'm on. Nobody speaks any English whatsoever. I got these bags, and I can't even ask. I don't even know where I'm going. So I get on a train, and I'm kind of thinking, this is crazy. And so I start, wondering what I'm doing. And I remember at one point, I asked the guy that walks down and collects the tickets, I asked him how to get to the Reisenrad. And so he when we got to the stop, he said, he didn't say this, but he kind of pointed at me, this is the one, this is the connection you want, get on that train. So I got on that train and went for a while, and after a while I saw the Ferris wheel. And I get off the train, and by that point David pulled himself together, and he was at the station on the platform. and then it just hit me in one rush that I needed one word to find Dave. I didn't need the care of a whole community of faith on a mission trip. It was one word, got me to Vienna, Austria, where I was supposed to go. And I just felt like, okay, Lord, I'm taking this from you, and we're going to go back, and Zoe's going to be a church dedicated to your word. We're going to love everyone, musicians and prophets, as much as we can, but it's going to be about your word because it's powerful. And I felt like he redeemed something in me in that moment, that this was much bigger than I thought it was about. It was much more direct and powerful than I would have made it, and he used it as an opportunity to communicate that.
Wow,
so.
I love that. Thank you, John. Thank you for sharing that story.